Hello and welcome back. We'll see you next season, Premier League. Everton are safe. They have won against Brentford. It is the third win in a row. It is the fourth win in the last 5 games. That means we've taken away about 13 points, I think, from our last 6 games. So obviously, coming into form at the right time. And it was a pretty sort of iffy performance today, if I'm going to be completely honest, but ultimately it only results in what you're reaping on the scoreboard, and we win 1-0. So another clean sheet, that's number 12. So we've got a dozen of those, second most in the Premier League. It's been a really good response. I mean, we said it the last time out against Liverpool, but a great response. We have not conceded since that 6-0 loss. So a lot of defensive work has been done to rectify the issues, and I think simply being more switched on and, not going through the motions has really taken us a long way. So we've been able to play out of the back better. It's supplemented our attacking game well. The midfielders are doing a lot more to ensure that our backline isn't as vulnerable. There were a few moments today, but even without DCL and no very experienced striker, we still managed to, do enough attacking work to keep it away, simultaneously scoring a goal. And we had a couple close ones as well that hit the crossbar. So pretty good performance. Obviously, you're going to take it. 3 games left in the season, but we've already wrapped it up. Let's talk about the game itself, key players, all that jazz. Let's get into it. So first half, you could really see 2 of the same system going head to head. A lot of hoofball down the line. Brentford were being as aerial as we were. We didn't have that aerial presence with Chamidi playing his first time as a starter. And look, I don't think it was too bad of a performance by Chamidi because, that aerial presence wasn't quite there. Brentford were a very tall backline today with Aya, Collins, and Pinnock. But, I think he did a great job when the ball was passed to his feet. There are a couple nice flick-ons or, little slice passes which were nice little redirects, and it really created a lot more space where it seemed like there wasn't any. He attracted attention, was able to draw defenders in, and then the space opened up. So I think as the game grew, he grew in stature and performance, ended up getting a couple nice little involvements in some build-up, and maybe he would have been an assist getter if, there was a little bit more polish on the attacking end. I think it was great, though. I think he did a really good job for a 19-year-old that's played 70 minutes over 14 games. That's an almighty effort with what he did. But it obviously wasn't just him. And, there's a lot to improve on with his craft and that sort of thing. But look, both teams very comfortable in their own half. Not too much going on in the attacking third. Both defenses playing very disciplined and the keepers not having too much to do. That being said, I think Jordan Pickford had a great game today. A couple very meaningful saves. There were a couple that could have bypassed him. They were well placed. It required some reflexes on his end, but he did a great job to keep those out. And that is ultimately why he's got the 12 clean sheets this year, because he's been nothing short of brilliant, given the amount of shots he's had to face over the course of the season. I do think in the second half, obviously we needed some second efforts in order to get over the line. 1-0 is not a great cushion. I do think Jack Harrison was exceptional in this respect because there were a couple times where Brentford were on the up. They dominated territory, it seemed like, in the back portion of the game. We usually tend to sit back on those 1-0 leads. And I think Jack Harrison did a great job at being disruptive and ensuring that not only did they not get the ball crossed in, but we won back possession and went the other way. Averted danger in some respects. So yeah, he was pretty superb on that front. But my player of the game today is actually going to go to Ashley Young. And this guy has been a bit of a shocker, and he has been a scapegoat of the fan base, but rightfully so. He's been awful in many situations. He's been a liability. He's been responsible for goals. But today, he wasn't responsible for goals. And not only that, his direct matchup, didn't really have much of a bearing on the game. And Burmo, he just a lot of the time just walked into a brick wall that was Ashley Young. He was able to telegraph those diagonal passes towards Mbeumo, and the pace element wasn't really exposed. I got very concerned when I saw Brentford's front three today, but Ashley Young never seemed too blinded by the lights. He was very strong when we needed him to be, and nothing really got past him. I mean, we're talking about Mykolenko having Mo Salah in his back pocket, but I think the same thing could be said for Ashley Young, because I think he did everything right, and I can't recall one single mistake. There may have been a couple loose passes in there, but this is Everton Football Club. Of course, there's going to be a couple of loose passes in there. So he was really good, and we needed everyone to perform today. There's a couple injuries going through the squad at the moment, but responding to that Mykolenko absence, he did a great job today, so I'm going to give it to him. I think some honourable mentions. Gana Gueye obviously scored the goal, and I think it was really clever how that was built up, because Jack Harrison remained wide, and we were able to recycle the ball. It was a very good thing that Harrison was able to read the play. I don't know who passed it across. I think it may have been James Garner. It was a very nice ball out wide. Harrison had a lot more space than he should have. No one was tracking him. And, his ability to go a little bit deeper and then swing it in very, very close to the goal line meant that Brentford defenders were sort of following the play, ended up on the goal line as well. And that sort of meant that there was an imbalance. There were too many players on the goal line or close to, and then you had Gana Gueye running into the space that was probably about 5 to 10 yards away from the goals. So that's where the follow-up was able to happen. The score was able to happen, but we haven't seen too much of that follow-up this year. There's been plenty of times where we've needed a player to fill the gap and act upon the loose ball in the box, but Idrissa Gana Gueye was up to it today, and this has been a stellar patch of form. I mean, he scored a couple goals in the space of a week, and 3 performances at his age, playing that many minutes, 3 games in 7 days. I mean, it's been a delightful showing, or set of showings, should I say, from him. I think another honourable mention should go to James Tarkowski, because, as much as we talk about Brentford having the advantage defensively with their height, they also could have exploited that in terms of the set piece element. Apparently, they've been very good at that this season. But James Tarkowski, there was never an inch of doubt about the way he played today either. There was plenty of times where he needed to act upon these Brentford attacks, and he was always clearing it with his head. He was getting in harm's way as usual. I think he's got nearly the most blocks out of any player in the league this season. So he's just been elite in a number of categories for this team, and I think the culmination of all that was on display today. I think he was awesome as well. And you know what? I think that goes without saying. Players like Godfrey and Branthwaite, of course, were also incredibly important as well. They didn't show a shrivel of doubt about their play either today. There weren't too many instances where they were exposed. Maybe in the second half, they brought on a little bit of fresh legs. And, for a team that had played 3 games in 7 days, that could have been something that cost us. Down the flanks, Brentford would be able to beat us for pace and get those crosses in. And potentially with their dangerous threats, I mean, they scored 5 goals against Luton the other day, who, mind you, have a shaky defense of their own, and we're considerably better in that regard. But you just never know with Brentford's forwards. I mean, Tony Wissa, who's just, I don't know how many goals he scored this season, but it feels like he's scored a whole bunch. So we were able to shut out all of that, and I think the back line, we have so much gratitude to pay towards that back line this season, because that has been the main thing that's been at the staple of our success, or should I say, for the wins we've been able to gather. So I guess this is just the nice old relaxation period now. We don't need to worry about the amount of points we need to get. We don't need to do the calculations for the goal difference. It's all set in stone now, but do have 3 games left, and we could end up with a point tally that, if you don't include the deductions, could see us have 50 points by the end of the season. We've got Luton and Sheffield, and with those 2 wins, if we get 2 wins, that'll put us on 42 points, which is, if you add on the 8 points that were deducted, a 50-point season, which is just, I don't even know how he's done it, Deitch. Mind-blowing. Tracksuit Deitch is unbeatable, And yeah, we've just been perfect since he's put that tracksuit on. So there must be some special powers. The football gods have been channeled in that tracksuit, or the right side of the football gods. So maybe we've got a couple more wins to come and we can reach that 50-point mark. I think that is a goal that I want to set. But, you know, I think Everton won't be thinking exactly like that. I think they're going to be thinking just win every game. They're not going to be setting any point total goals or anything of that sort. They're going to still take it one game at a time. It's going to be same goes, business as usual, no matter the circumstances, even though, you know, the safety is secured now. But credit to this team, man. 3 games in 7 days, and the team has won all 3, hasn't conceded a goal. It just can't get much better than that. Feels good being an Everton fan now, and we can all relax, chill out, enjoy football for what it is. And if we lose, well, we don't need to get too butthurt about it. But let's actually make these games watchable in the closing, please and thank you. But until the next one, stay safe. We'll chat to you soon. Have a good one. Bye for now.